As we reported earlier in the week, a box containing 115 aborted babies heading to a medical waste facility was recovered by a pro-life group outside of a D.C. abortion clinic. 5 of the babies appeared to be late-term gestation and developed enough to be able to live outside of the womb. Although pro-life groups and lawmakers alike have called for further investigation, D.C. officials continue to be evasive. Margaret Olohan, a reporter for the Daily Wire, visited the abortion clinic where that box was retrieved to find answers. And Margaret Olohan joins us now. Margaret, great to see you. Tell us why you decided to go to that abortion clinic in the first place and what you experienced when you were there. What did you see?
Well, thank you. It's great to be here. So I went to this abortion clinic because we have been reaching out to D.C. officials all week looking for answers about what is going on here and why D.C. officials apparently are not very interested in finding out whether these babies were legally aborted, as they have said. Now, these babies, according to some pro-life doctors who looked at them, may have been killed using partial birth abortion techniques, which are illegal in the United States under the Partial Birth Abortion Act of 2003. So, frustrated by the lack of responses from the D.C. Mayor Muriel, the D.C. medical examiner, the Metropolitan Police Department, I drove down there yesterday in the rain to see what I could find out. Now, I went to the clinic, I went upstairs to the 4th floor, that's where it is, in a big foggy bottom apartment building, or office building. I got up there and the clinic workers wouldn't tell me anything. They told me that Dr. Santangelo was not in. They said that I could not talk to him and that all press inquiries needed to go through the National Abortion Federation. Well, I looked around the waiting room and I could see there were women there, and I told them I thought they were lying to me. I said, I think he is here and you just don't want me to let me talk to him. And they wouldn't say anything. So eventually I turned to go and I got to the door as I was leaving, and there was a woman who was outside the door with her boyfriend or her husband, and she was in incredible pain and she was kind of heaving and moaning and leaning on the wall. And I asked her, I said, is everything okay? Because she was clearly in such distress. And her boyfriend or husband, whoever it was, his eyes were all red and he looked really upset. And she turned to me and she tried to smile and she said, yes, I'm fine. And I said, do you mind telling me? I'm a reporter. What's going on? And she said, I'm having an abortion. And, you know, in that moment, I couldn't believe it. And I said, what? Because I could tell that her stomach was huge. She was maybe 2nd trimester. And I could see that she was very pregnant. And I said, what do you mean? Is it, did you already have it? Or, I was confused. She said, no, I'm having it right now. And then she told me that the doctors had taken the tubes out. And what she meant by that is that they had already begun a process that helped open up and dilate her so that the doctors could, the abortionist could go in and get the baby. And so right at that moment, an abortion clinic worker opened the door and started yelling at them to go inside and not to talk to me. And I tried to tell them who I was and who I worked for so that they could reach out to me if they wanted to talk to me and tell their story. And then just like that, it was over and they were inside the clinic and I couldn't talk to them anymore. And I went downstairs to the lobby and was processing this as I went. I couldn't believe what had just happened. And then as I got to the lobby and I went outside and it was raining and I was trying to find my car, and it just washed over me like a wave of what I had just experienced. And I realized that woman upstairs was heading into the abortion clinic to finish her abortion with this abortionist that has been recorded saying by live action that he allows babies to die if they're born alive through his botched abortions. And I just was overcome by this, and I couldn't believe what I had just experienced. I got in the car and I broke down crying. I was so upset. And I called my editor and we decided that we needed to share this story through a first-person narrative through the Daily Wire so that Americans and all of our readers can understand exactly what is going on. You know, this is here in D.C., the nation's capital, in the most powerful country in the world, and this is still happening. And D.C. officials apparently are uninterested. They're not commenting on it. I think they're really hoping this will just go away. You know, this messy little abortion scandal, they don't want to deal with it. You know, the Biden administration is very pro-abortion. D.C. is very pro-abortion. This appears to be an ideologically motivated silence. You know, they don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, and Margaret, obviously that made a huge impact on you, and the stories made a huge impact on all of us. What type of impact do you think this story may have, or what type of impact do you hope it will have on those people who are, you know, indifferent or support abortion?
Well, I wanted this story, first of all, the Daily Wire, we decided to tell this story in a first-person narrative because we thought it would speak most eloquently to what happened. you know, this was a very hard experience for me, and I was just a viewer. I was not actively participating in what was going on here. You know, this woman who was in this abortion, and I saw the pain and the distress on her face. I could see how hard this was for her. I don't know her. I don't know why she was there or why she wanted the abortion or whether she wanted it at all. But I was there in the moment, and I could see what she was going through and what the man with her was going through. And I just would really like people to be able to see this small glimpse of how this actually works. You know, I think a lot of people think of women who go to get abortions and they say, how could you do that? How could you murder your baby? And, you know, I think that's a perspective that many of us have. But then when you get up close and you see what's happening, you think, why? Who pushed you to do this? And what made you feel like you had to do this, to put yourself in this position, you know? And I think it really gives us a broader view of what is going on here and how maybe you can help women that are put in a situation where they feel like they must get an abortion or they feel like they don't have any other option. And the other reason I think this story is so important is because no one is talking about it, like I was saying. It is very hard to see people covering this fairly, and to, you know, a lot of mainstream media is reporting this as, oh, crazy pro-lifers have aborted babies in their apartment that the police found in their apartment. That's not the story. Pro-lifers went to this clinic and found this box and asked to take it. The driver of the truck told them they could take it, and then they took it home and they alerted the police that they had the babies and that they wanted a forensic examination done. That's what the story is. And then Live Action documented these babies that the progressive anti-abortion uprising took from the clinic. And now all these photographs are out here and the whole world can see what is going on here. So I think our Daily Wire story, that's just another way of showing people this is what's happening. This is why this is a big deal. It's gruesome, but we need to take a good look at it. Is it okay that DC officials are ignoring this? Is it okay that the most pro-abortion administration in history is comfortable with this going on in our city, the nation's capital, where there's no law banning abortion? That's not okay. And GOP lawmakers are calling this out. They're sending letters to Mayor Muriel, to the Department of Justice, Merrick Garland. They're calling for investigations of what's going on here, and they are asking that the bodies of these babies be preserved as evidence so that we can still perform autopsies and find out if these babies are alive. It's not that hard. If they have air in their lungs, it's a good sign that they breathed outside the womb. So we will see what happens. You know, Congressman Chip Roy said in a statement to me the other day that he doesn't think anything will happen because DC is ideologically motivated to keep quiet on this. I hope not. I hope that we'll keep pushing and we'll get answers, and that we will have these autopsies done, and Dr. Santangelo will have to answer for what's going on here.
Well, Mary Margaret, you know, this is such a heartbreaking story, and thank you so much for being brave and bold enough to tell it. We appreciate it.
Thank you.